and a very warm welcome to Fireside Fables. If you're seeking stories that weave tranquility into your night, guiding you gently towards a restful slumber, you found the right place. Here, we embark on journeys not just to distant lands and times, but into the heart of peace and calm itself. So, make yourself comfortable, let the day's worries melt away, and join me by the fireside. Together, we'll explore tales designed to soothe your mind, ease your soul, and escort you into the most peaceful sleep. Tonight, let the flickering flames and the soft cadence of our stories be your sanctuary. Welcome to Fireside Fables, where every tale is a step closer to a calm and serene slumber. On a warm, sunny afternoon, Alice sits beside a gently flowing river, her back resting against a large oak tree. The soft grass beneath her and the soothing sound of the water lull her into a peaceful, drowsy state. As her eyelids grow heavy, she finds herself drifting off into a pleasant daydream. Just as Alice is about to fall asleep, a curious sight catches her attention. A white rabbit, dressed in a waistcoat and carrying a pocket watch, scurries by, muttering to himself, oh dear, I shall be too late." Intrigued by this unusual creature, Alice slowly rises to her feet and follows the rabbit, her curiosity overcoming her desire to rest. The rabbit leads her to a large rabbit hole beneath a hedge. Without hesitation, he plunges into the darkness, vanishing from sight. Alice, her mind still hazy with the remnants of her afternoon drowsiness, kneels down and peers into the hole. It seems to go on forever, a deep, endless tunnel leading to an unknown destination. Overcome by her sense of adventure, Alice leans forward, trying to get a better look. Suddenly, she loses her balance and tumbles headfirst into the rabbit hole. Instead of feeling frightened, Alice finds herself gently drifting downward, as if sinking through a soft, fluffy cloud. As she falls, Alice's surroundings begin to change. The walls of the tunnel are lined with cupboards, bookshelves, and various oddities. Maps and pictures hang at strange angles, and Alice even spots a jar of orange marmalade sitting on one of the shelves. The air around her feels warm and comforting, and her descent slows to a gentle floating pace. Alice's drowsiness returns as she drifts deeper into the mysterious passage. Her thoughts become more abstract and dreamlike, and she wonders if she might fall right through the center of the earth and come out on the other side. The soft light emanating from an unknown source and the soothing hum of the air around her create a calming atmosphere, and Alice's eyes begin to close. Farther and farther down she floats, the strange objects and furnishings blurring together as her mind slips into a peaceful slumber. The world above fades away, replaced by the gentle embrace of a fantastical dreamscape. Alice, now fully asleep, continues her slow, winding journey into the depths of the rabbit hole, unaware of the marvelous adventures that await her in the whimsical land she will soon discover. As she drifts off, the worries and cares of her everyday life melt away, replaced by a sense of tranquility and wonder. The rhythmic sound of her own breathing and the faint whisper of the air around her create a soothing lullaby, guiding her deeper into the realm of dreams. And so, Alice descends into a world of enchantment where the impossible becomes possible and the ordinary gives way to the extraordinary. As Alice's descent gradually comes to an end, she finds herself gently landing in a peculiar hall, lined with doors of various sizes and shapes. The soft light filtering through the space creates a warm, inviting atmosphere, and Alice feels a sense of calm wash over her as she takes in her surroundings. Rising to her feet, Alice approaches the doors, trying each one in turn. To her disappointment, she discovers that they are all locked. Undeterred, she continues to explore the hall, her footsteps echoing softly on the smooth, polished floor. As she walks, she notices a delicate glass table in the center of the room, upon which rests a small golden key. Intrigued, Alice picks up the key and tries it in each of the locks, hoping to find the door it belongs to. Finally, she comes across a tiny door hidden behind a curtain. The key fits perfectly, and with a soft click, the door swings open, revealing a narrow passage leading to a beautiful garden. Excited by her discovery, Alice peers through the doorway, marveling at the vibrant colors and gentle fragrance of the flowers that beckon to her. She longs to explore this enchanting space, but realizes that she is much too large to fit through the small opening. Returning to the table, Alice notices a dainty bottle labeled "Drink Me" that she hadn't seen before. Curiosity gets the better of her, and she decides to take a sip. The liquid is cool and refreshing, with a subtle, sweet flavor that dances on her tongue. As she drinks, a peculiar sensation washes over her, and she begins to shrink, becoming smaller and smaller until she is just the right size to pass through the tiny door. Delighted by her transformation, Alice sets off towards the garden, the soft grass tickling her feet as she walks. However, as she reaches the door, she realizes that she has left the golden key on the table, now far out of her reach. Frustrated by her oversight, Alice tries to climb the table leg, but finds it impossible in her diminutive state. Overwhelmed by her predicament, Alice sinks to the ground, her eyes welling up with tears. As she begins to cry, her tears fall softly onto the floor, creating a small puddle that gradually grows larger and larger. The soothing sound of the droplets pattering against the ground fills the air, and Alice finds herself slowly relaxing, her worries and frustrations melting away. As the pool of tears continues to grow, Alice's mind begins to drift, the gentle sound of the water lulling her into a tranquil state. She imagines herself floating on the surface of the pool, her body weightless and free, carried by the gentle currents to a place of peace and serenity. Lost in her reverie, Alice fails to notice that the pool has become quite large, now more like a small lake than a mere puddle. The soft lapping of the water against the shore creates a hypnotic rhythm, and Alice's eyelids begin to grow heavy once more. As she drifts off to sleep, the world around her fades away, replaced by the soothing embrace of her dream. The pool of tears becomes a vast, tranquil ocean upon which Alice floats, her mind at ease and her heart filled with a sense of calm and contentment. And so, she surrenders to the gentle pull of slumber, ready to embrace the next chapter of her enchanting journey through this strange and wondrous land. As Alice drifts off to sleep, lulled by the gentle lapping of the water, she suddenly finds herself surrounded by a group of peculiar creatures. A motley assortment of animals, all drenched from head to toe, gather around the shore of the pool, which has now grown to the size of a small lake. Among them, Alice recognizes a dodo, a lory, an eaglet, and several other curious beings. The animals, having found themselves in a similar predicament to Alice, engage in a lively discussion about how to dry off. The dodo, a rather pompous and self-important creature, proposes that they should hold a caucus race to resolve their dilemma. Alice, intrigued by this unusual suggestion, listens intently as the dodo explains the rules of the race. In the caucus race, the participants are placed at various points around the lake, and they must run in circles until they are dry. There is no set starting point or finish line, and the race can go on for as long as necessary. The dodo insists that this is the most effective way to dry off, and the other animals eagerly agree to take part. As the race begins, Alice finds herself swept up in the excitement. She joins the other creatures in running around the lake, her feet splashing through the shallow water as she goes. The soft sound of the water and the gentle rustling of the grass create a soothing rhythm, and Alice soon loses herself in the simple pleasure of the moment. Around and around the lake they run, the animals chattering and laughing as they go. The dodo, who has appointed himself as the judge of the race, sits on a nearby rock, offering words of encouragement and occasionally dozing off in the warm sun. Alice, feeling the gentle breeze on her face and the soft ground beneath her feet, finds herself relaxing into the easy, repetitive motion of the race. As time passes, Alice begins to notice that the water is gradually receding, and the participants are indeed becoming drier. The gentle lapping of the water fades away, replaced by the soft rustling of the grass and the muted footsteps of the runners. The animals, too, seem to be growing more content and peaceful as they continue their circular journey. The race continues, and Alice's mind begins to wander. She reflects on the strange and wonderful experiences she has had since falling down the rabbit hole, and how each moment has been filled with a sense of calm and tranquility, even in the face of the most unusual circumstances. She realizes that in this dreamlike world, things don't always make sense, but there is a certain beauty in embracing the unexpected and going with the flow. As the caucus race draws to a close, the animals gather around the dodo, who declares that everyone has won and that they all deserve a prize. Alice, feeling a sense of contentment and camaraderie with her newfound friends, accepts a small trinket from the dodo as a memento of their shared experience. With the race concluded and the participants now dry, Alice feels a gentle drowsiness begin to wash over her once more. She settles down on the soft grass, the warmth of the sun, and the peaceful sounds of the surrounding forest, lulling her into a state of deep relaxation. As she drifts off to sleep, Alice reflects on the simple joy of the caucus race and the lesson it has taught her. In this enchanting world, sometimes the most mundane and nonsensical activities can bring the greatest sense of peace and happiness. With this thought in mind, she slips into a gentle slumber, ready to embrace whatever new adventures and experiences await her in the chapters to come. As Alice's mind wanders through the tranquil dreamscape, she suddenly finds herself standing in front of a quaint little house. The house, with its thatched roof and neatly trimmed garden, belongs to none other than the White Rabbit. Alice, curious to see what the rabbit is up to, approaches the front door and gently knocks. To her surprise, the rabbit answers the door in a great hurry, mistaking Alice for his housemaid, Mary Ann. He frantically instructs her to retrieve his gloves from inside the house, as he is already running late for an important engagement. Alice, caught up in the moment and eager to assist, enters the house and begins her search for the gloves. As she explores the cozy interior of the rabbit's house, Alice comes across a small room filled with all sorts of curious objects. Among them, she spots a dainty bottle sitting on a table, labeled with the words, "Drink me," in elegant script. Intrigued and feeling a bit thirsty from her adventures, Alice decides to take a sip from the bottle. The liquid is cool and refreshing, with a subtle sweetness that dances on her tongue. As she drinks, Alice feels a peculiar sensation wash over her, and she begins to grow larger and larger. Within moments, she has grown so tall that her head and arms are pressed against the ceiling, and her legs are cramped within the confines of the small room. Startled by her sudden growth, Alice realizes that she has made a terrible mistake. She is now trapped inside the rabbit's house, unable to move or escape. The rabbit, hearing the commotion, comes running to investigate and is shocked to find his home in such disarray, with a giant Alice filling up the entire space. In a panic, the rabbit runs outside and calls for help, summoning his neighbors to assist in removing Alice from his house. A curious crowd gathers, including Bill the Lizard, who bravely volunteers to climb down the chimney and pull Alice out. However, as Bill descends the chimney, Alice's foot accidentally knocks him back out, sending him flying into the garden. As the commotion continues outside, Alice begins to feel a sense of drowsiness wash over her. The warmth of the cozy room and the gentle hum of the rabbit's house lull her into a state of deep relaxation. Her eyelids grow heavy, and she slowly sinks into a peaceful slumber, her body shrinking back to its normal size as she drifts off. In her dreams, Alice finds herself floating gently through a sea of soft, fluffy clouds. The worries and fears of her waking life melt away, replaced by a sense of calm and contentment. She dreams of the rabbit's garden, filled with colorful flowers and the gentle buzzing of bees, and of the cozy interior of his house with its plush armchairs and warm, inviting hearth. As she slumbers, the chaos outside the rabbit's house fades away, and Alice is left to enjoy the peaceful solitude of her dreams. The gentle rocking motion of the clouds and the soft, muted sounds of the dreamscape create a soothing lullaby, guiding her deeper into a state of tranquility and rest. In this moment, Alice is reminded of the importance of letting go and surrendering to the flow of life. Even in the midst of unexpected challenges and obstacles, there is always an opportunity to find peace and calm within oneself. With this realization, Alice drifts deeper into her slumber, ready to face whatever new adventures and experiences await her when she awakens. And so, as the rabbit and his neighbors continue their frantic efforts to remove Alice from the house, she remains blissfully unaware, lost in the gentle embrace of her dreams. The world around her fades away, replaced by the soft, comforting warmth of her inner tranquility, guiding her onward through the enchanting landscape of Wonderland. As Alice emerges from her peaceful slumber, she finds herself in a tranquil garden, surrounded by a vibrant array of flowers and lush greenery. The gentle rustling of leaves and the soft chirping of birds create a soothing ambience, inviting Alice to take a moment to rest and reflect on her journey thus far. As she wanders through the garden, Alice comes across a large mushroom, upon which sits a blue caterpillar, slowly smoking a hookah. The caterpillar, with its languid movements and contemplative expression, exudes an air of wisdom and serenity. Intrigued by this peculiar creature, Alice approaches the mushroom and greets the caterpillar politely. The caterpillar, in a slow and measured tone, asks Alice a simple question. "Who are you?" Alice, taken aback by the directness of the inquiry, stumbles over her words as she tries to explain her identity. She realizes that since her arrival in Wonderland, her sense of self has been challenged and transformed by the strange and wondrous experiences she has encountered. The caterpillar listens patiently as Alice grapples with her thoughts, offering occasional puffs from its hookah. As the fragrant smoke wafts through the air, Alice feels a sense of calm wash over her, her mind becoming clearer and more focused. The caterpillar, sensing her inner turmoil, begins to offer Alice some sage advice. "In this world," the caterpillar explains, "who you are is not as important as who you choose to become. Your identity is a fluid and ever-changing thing, shaped by the experiences and choices you make along the way. Embrace the uncertainty and the wonder of the journey, and trust in the process of self-discovery." As Alice listens to the caterpillar's words, she feels a sense of comfort and reassurance wash over her. The caterpillar's calm and soothing voice, combined with the peaceful surroundings of the garden, creates a safe and nurturing space for Alice to explore her innermost thoughts and feelings. The caterpillar, noticing Alice's interest in the mushroom, instructs her on how to use it to control her size. By nibbling on different sides of the mushroom, Alice can grow taller or shorter, depending on her needs. The caterpillar emphasizes the importance of finding balance and moderation in all things, and encourages Alice to use this new knowledge wisely. Grateful for the caterpillar's guidance, Alice carefully breaks off a piece of the mushroom and begins to experiment with its effects. As she nibbles on the mushroom, she feels her body shifting and changing, growing taller or shorter with each bite. The sensation is strange and exhilarating, but Alice remains calm and focused, trusting in the caterpillar's wisdom. As she continues to explore the effects of the mushroom, Alice finds herself becoming more attuned to her own body and mind. She begins to understand that her physical form is merely a reflection of her inner state, and that true growth and transformation come from within. With this newfound understanding, Alice thanks the caterpillar for its invaluable advice and prepares to continue her journey through Wonderland. The caterpillar, with a knowing smile, bids her farewell and returns to its contemplative smoking, leaving Alice to ponder the deep and meaningful insights it has shared. As Alice sets off into the garden once more, she carries with her a renewed sense of purpose and self-awareness. The caterpillar's words echo in her mind, reminding her to embrace the ups and downs of her journey and to trust in the wisdom and guidance that can be found in even the most unexpected of places. And so, with a heart full of gratitude and a mind open to new possibilities, Alice continues her peaceful exploration of Wonderland, ready to face whatever challenges and adventures lie ahead. As Alice wanders deeper into the tranquil garden, she comes across a peculiar sight: a grinning cat perched on the branch of a large tree. The cat, with its distinctive purple and pink striped fur, seems to materialize out of thin air, its body slowly fading into view as if emerging from a dream. This is the Cheshire Cat, a mysterious and enigmatic creature known for its mischievous nature and cryptic advice. Intrigued by the cat's appearance, Alice approaches the tree and greets the feline with a friendly smile. The Cheshire Cat, in return, grins even wider, its eyes sparkling with amusement and secrets untold. As Alice engages the cat in conversation, she finds herself drawn into a world of riddles and wordplay. The cat's response is both puzzling and enlightening. The Cheshire Cat, with its soothing purr and languid movements, creates an atmosphere of calm and introspection. As Alice listens to the cat's playful banter, she feels her mind begin to relax, the worries and concerns of her journey melting away like mist in the morning sun. The cat's presence is a reminder to Alice that sometimes the most profound truths can be found in the most unexpected and whimsical of places. As their conversation continues, the Cheshire Cat begins to share its knowledge of the strange and wondrous land in which they find themselves. It tells Alice of the Mad Hatter and the March Hare, two eccentric characters who are always engaged in a never-ending tea party. The cat describes the tea party as a place of joy and laughter, where time stands still and the worries of the world fade away. The Cheshire Cat also speaks of the Queen of Hearts, a fearsome ruler known for her quick temper, and penchant for beheading those who displease her. Despite the queen's reputation, the cat assures Alice that even in the face of adversity, one can find moments of peace and tranquility. It is all a matter of perspective, the cat explains, and the ability to find humor and light in even the darkest of situations. As the Cheshire Cat shares its wisdom, Alice finds herself becoming more and more relaxed, the gentle breeze and soft rustling of leaves creating a soothing backdrop to their conversation. The cat's grin, ever present and enigmatic, becomes a source of comfort and reassurance, a reminder that even in the midst of chaos and uncertainty, there is always a glimmer of hope and joy to be found. Feeling a sense of newfound clarity and purpose, Alice thanks the Cheshire Cat for its guidance and prepares to continue her journey. The cat, with a final grin and a wink, begins to fade from view, its body disappearing piece by piece until only its smile remains, hovering in the air like a crescent moon. As Alice sets off once more, she carries with her the Cheshire Cat's words of wisdom, a renewed sense of calm and determination guiding her steps. She knows that the road ahead may be filled with challenges and obstacles, but she also knows that with a positive outlook and a willingness to embrace the unexpected, she can find moments of peace and happiness along the way. And so, with the Cheshire Cat's grin etched in her memory and a heart full of hope, Alice continues her journey through the enchanting world of Wonderland, ready to face whatever twists and turns lie ahead. The garden, with its soft colors and gentle sounds, becomes a sanctuary of sorts, a place of respite and reflection that Alice can carry with her wherever she goes. As she walks, Alice feels a sense of gratitude wash over her, thankful for the many lessons and insights she has gained from the wise and whimsical creatures she has encountered thus far. With each step, she feels herself growing stronger and more confident, ready to embrace the magic and wonder that Wonderland has to offer. As Alice follows the path through the whimsical garden, she finds herself drawn towards the sound of laughter and the clinking of teacups. Curious to discover the source of the merriment, she rounds a bend and stumbles upon a most peculiar sight. A large table set out under a tree, adorned with a mismatched array of teapots, cups, and saucers. Seated at the table are the Mad Hatter, the March Hare, and the Sleepy Dormouse, engaged in what appears to be a never-ending tea party. Intrigued by the scene before her, Alice approaches the table and politely asks to join the gathering. The Mad Hatter, with a wide grin and a flourish of his hat, welcomes her warmly, inviting her to sit down and share in the festivities. The March Hare, equally enthusiastic, offers Alice a cup of tea, while the Dormouse dozes peacefully in its seat, occasionally murmuring nonsensical phrases in its sleep. As Alice settles into her chair, she finds herself drawn into the whimsical and nonsensical conversation that flows freely around the table. The Mad Hatter and the March Hare engage in playful wordplay and riddles, their laughter ringing out through the peaceful garden. Despite the apparent chaos of the scene, Alice feels a sense of calm and belonging wash over her, the worries of her journey fading away like the steam from a freshly poured cup of tea. The tea party, with its endless supply of warm drinks and delightful treats, creates an atmosphere of comfort and relaxation. The soft clinking of teacups and the gentle rustling of leaves in the breeze form a soothing backdrop to the lively conversation. As Alice listens to the Hatter and the Hare's amusing stories and jokes, she finds herself laughing along, her heart filled with a sense of joy and contentment. As the party progresses, the conversation takes on a more philosophical tone. The Hatter and the Hare pondering the nature of time and the meaning of existence. The Dormouse, in its brief moments of wakefulness, chimes in with cryptic yet profound statements, adding to the overall sense of introspection and wonder. Alice, fascinated by the depth and wisdom hidden beneath the surface of the seemingly nonsensical dialogue, finds herself reflecting on her own life and the lessons she has learned throughout her journey. The Mad Hatter, with a twinkle in his eye, explains to Alice that in this world, time is a fluid and malleable thing, capable of being bent and shaped to one's will. He encourages her to embrace the present moment, to find joy and meaning in the simple pleasures of life, such as a warm cup of tea and the company of good friends. The March Hare, nodding in agreement, adds that true happiness lies in the ability to find beauty and wonder in even the most unexpected and chaotic of circumstances. As the tea party winds down and the conversation lulls, Alice feels a sense of peace and contentment wash over her. The Hatter and the Hare, their faces filled with warmth and kindness, bid her farewell, inviting her to return whenever she needs a moment of respite and laughter. The Dormouse, with a sleepy smile, waves goodbye as it drifts off into another peaceful slumber. Filled with a renewed sense of purpose and a heart full of gratitude, Alice sets off once more, the memories of the mad tea party etched forever in her mind. She carries with her the lessons of the Hatter and the Hare, the importance of living in the present moment and finding joy in the simple things. As she walks, the soft sound of laughter and the clinking of teacups fade into the distance, a reminder of the beautiful moments of connection and happiness that can be found in even the strangest of places. And so, with a skip in her step and a smile on her face, Alice continues her journey through the wondrous world of Wonderland, ready to embrace whatever new adventures and experiences lie ahead. The mad tea party, with its whimsy and wisdom, becomes a cherished memory, a source of comfort and inspiration that Alice can draw upon whenever she needs a reminder of the magic and beauty that exists all around her. As Alice bids farewell to the Mad Hatter and the March Hare, she finds herself wandering into a vast and beautifully manicured garden, the vibrant green grass stretching out before her like a lush carpet. The air is filled with the gentle humming of bees and the sweet fragrance of blooming flowers, creating an atmosphere of tranquility and peace. This is the Queen's Croquet Ground, a place of beauty and order amidst the chaos of Wonderland. As Alice explores the garden, she comes across a most peculiar sight. A group of playing cards, each adorned with the suit of hearts, busily painting the white roses on the bushes a vivid shade of red. The cards, their faces focused and intent, work diligently to complete their task, the soft brush strokes creating a soothing rhythm that fills the air. Alice, intrigued by their actions, approaches the cards and inquires about their curious behavior. The cards, startled by her presence, quickly explain that they had accidentally planted white roses instead of red and are now desperately trying to correct their mistake before the Queen of Hearts discovers their error. The Queen, known for her quick temper and penchant for ordering beheadings, would surely be furious if she found out about the white roses. The cards, their voices trembling with fear, plead with Alice to keep their secret, promising her a place in the upcoming croquet game if she agrees to stay silent. Feeling a sense of compassion for the cards and their plight, Alice agrees to keep their secret and joins them in their efforts to paint the roses. As she works alongside the cards, Alice finds herself becoming lost in the peaceful repetition of the task, the soft strokes of the paintbrush, and the gentle rustling of the leaves, creating a soothing melody that washes over her like a gentle wave. The act of creating beauty, even in the face of fear and adversity, fills Alice with a sense of purpose and calm, her worries and concerns fading away like the white petals beneath the red paint. As the painting comes to an end and the roses stand tall and proud in their new crimson hue, the sound of trumpets fills the air, announcing the arrival of the Queen of Hearts. The cards, their faces pale with fear, quickly fall into line, bowing deeply as the Queen makes her grand entrance. The Queen, a formidable figure in her flowing red gown and glittering crown, surveys the scene with a critical eye, her gaze falling upon Alice with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. Feeling a sense of calm and confidence wash over her, Alice steps forward and curtsies before the Queen, introducing herself and expressing her desire to join in the game of croquet. The Queen, impressed by Alice's boldness and the beauty of the newly painted roses, agrees to let her play, handing her a flamingo to use as a mallet and a hedgehog to serve as the ball. As the game begins, Alice finds herself becoming lost in the absurdity and whimsy of the scene before her. The players, each wielding a live flamingo and attempting to hit the hedgehogs through the hoops, create a chaotic and amusing spectacle, the laughter and shouts of the participants filling the air. Despite the apparent madness of the game, Alice feels a sense of joy and freedom wash over her. The worries and concerns of her everyday life melting away like the dew on the grass. As the game comes to a close and the Queen declares herself the winner, Alice finds herself feeling a sense of contentment and peace, the beauty and absurdity of the croquet ground forever etched in her memory. She realizes that sometimes it is in the moments of chaos and uncertainty that we find the greatest beauty and joy, and that true happiness lies in the ability to embrace the unexpected and find laughter in even the strangest of circumstances. With a smile on her face and a heart full of wonder, Alice bids farewell to the Queen and the playing cards, setting off once more on her journey through the enchanting world of Wonderland. The croquet ground, with its vibrant colors and whimsical charm, becomes a cherished memory, a reminder of the importance of finding beauty and joy in the world around us, no matter how strange or absurd it may seem. As Alice leaves the Queen's croquet ground, she finds herself wandering along a peaceful shoreline, the gentle waves lapping at her feet and the salty sea breeze tousling her hair. The sun hangs low in the sky, casting a warm golden glow across the tranquil landscape. It is here, in this serene setting, that Alice encounters the Griffon, a curious creature with the head and wings of an eagle and the body of a lion. The Griffin, with a friendly smile and a twinkle in its eye, greets Alice warmly, inviting her to sit and rest a while. As they chat, the Griffin regales Alice with tales of its adventures and the many wonders of Wonderland. It speaks of the mock turtle, a wise and melancholic creature who lives nearby, and offers to introduce Alice to this intriguing character. Intrigued by the prospect of meeting someone new and learning more about the strange and wondrous world in which she finds herself, Alice agrees to accompany the Griffon to visit the mock turtle. As they walk along the shore, the soft sand beneath their feet and the gentle sound of the waves creating a soothing rhythm, the Griffin shares more stories of the mock turtle's past and the unique experiences that have shaped its character. As they approach the mock turtle's home, a cozy cave nestled among the rocks, Alice is struck by the sense of peace and tranquility that seems to emanate from the dwelling. The mock turtle, a gentle and introspective creature with the head of a calf and the shell of a turtle, greets them with a soft smile and a nod of its head. It invites Alice and the Griffon to sit and share in its story, the tale of its education and the curious subjects it studied in its youth. As the mock turtle begins to speak, Alice finds herself becoming lost in the creature's words, the soft, melodic tone of its voice washing over her like a soothing lullaby. The mock turtle speaks of its school days, of the lessons it learned in reeling and writhing, and of the importance of ambition in shaping one's life. It shares tales of its teachers, the tortoise and the lobster, and the wisdom they imparted through their unique and unconventional methods. As Alice listens to the mock turtle's story, she finds herself becoming more and more relaxed, the worries and cares of her journey fading away like the mist on the horizon. The Griffin, too, seems to be affected by the calming presence of the mock turtle, its usually energetic demeanor softening into a state of peaceful contentment. As the story comes to a close, the mock turtle and the Griffin invite Alice to join them in a dance, the lobster quadrille. The dance, a whimsical and light-hearted affair, fills Alice with a sense of joy and freedom, the soft sand beneath her feet and the gentle breeze in her hair, creating a moment of pure, unadulterated happiness. As they twirl and sway to the rhythm of the mock turtle's song, Alice feels a deep sense of connection to the creatures around her, a bond forged through the power of shared experience and the magic of Wonderland. As the dance comes to an end and the sun begins to set over the horizon, Alice bids farewell to the mock turtle and the griffon, her heart full of gratitude for the moments of peace and joy they have shared. She carries with her the lessons of the mock turtle's story, the importance of embracing one's education, and the value of finding wisdom in even the most unlikely of places. With a smile on her face and a spring in her step, Alice sets off once more, the soft glow of the setting sun lighting her path, and the gentle sound of the mock turtle's song echoing in her ears. The shoreline, with its tranquil beauty and the warmth of newfound friendship, becomes a cherished memory, a reminder of the power of connection and the importance of finding moments of peace and happiness in the chaos of life. And so, as Alice continues her journey through the wondrous world of Wonderland, she carries with her the lessons and memories of the mock turtle's story, a source of comfort and inspiration that will guide her through the challenges and adventures that lie ahead. As the sun rises over the horizon, casting a warm, golden glow across the tranquil landscape of Wonderland, Alice finds herself standing in a grand courtroom, the air thick with anticipation and the murmur of hushed voices. The room is filled with a sea of familiar faces, the creatures and characters she has encountered throughout her journey, all gathered to witness the trial of the Knave of Hearts, accused of stealing the Queen's tarts. Alice, her mind still hazy with the remnants of her adventures, takes her place among the assembled crowd, watching as the King and Queen of Hearts take their seats at the head of the court. The White Rabbit, acting as the court herald, reads the accusation against the knave, his voice trembling with nerves as he recites the charges. As the trial begins, Alice finds herself drawn into the absurdity and chaos of the proceedings. The evidence presented a nonsensical jumble of riddles and wordplay. The Mad Hatter, called as a witness, offers a meandering and confusing testimony, his words twisting and turning like the paths of Wonderland itself. The March Hare, equally perplexing, adds to the confusion with his cryptic statements and peculiar logic. Despite the apparent madness of the trial, Alice finds herself becoming more and more relaxed, the worries and cares of her everyday life fading away like the mist on a summer morning. The soft murmur of the crowd and the gentle rustling of papers create a soothing backdrop to the proceedings, lulling Alice into a state of peaceful contemplation. As the trial continues, the Queen of Hearts, her voice sharp and commanding, calls for Alice to take the stand. Alice, feeling a sudden surge of confidence and clarity, rises to her feet and approaches the witness box, ready to offer her own testimony. With a clear and steady voice, she begins to recount her adventures in Wonderland, sharing the lessons she has learned and the wisdom she has gained along the way. As Alice speaks, the courtroom falls silent, the assembled creatures hanging on her every word. She speaks of the importance of curiosity and the value of questioning the world around us, of the power of imagination and the beauty of embracing the unexpected. She shares the lessons of the Cheshire Cat and the wisdom of the Mock Turtle, the joy of the Mad Tea Party, and the wonder of the Queen's croquet ground. As her testimony comes to a close, Alice feels a sense of peace and purpose wash over her, the doubts and uncertainties of her journey fading away like the shadows in the morning light. The King and Queen of Hearts, their faces softened by Alice's words, nod in agreement, their hearts touched by the profound truths she has shared. In that moment, as the courtroom erupts in a chorus of cheers and applause, Alice realizes that the true beauty of Wonderland lies not in the absurdity and chaos of its inhabitants, but in the lessons and insights they have to offer. She understands that her journey, with all its twists and turns, has been a precious gift, a chance to grow and learn and discover the magic that lies within her own heart. As the trial comes to a close and the Knave of Hearts is declared innocent, Alice feels a sudden sensation of lightness and freedom, as though a great weight has been lifted from her shoulders. She knows that it is time for her to return to the waking world, to carry the lessons of Wonderland with her and share them with others. With a grateful smile and a heart full of love, Alice bids farewell to the creatures of Wonderland, promising to carry their wisdom and their magic with her always. As she drifts off to sleep, the soft glow of the morning sun warming her face, she knows that her adventures in Wonderland will forever be a part of her, a cherished memory and a source of inspiration for all the days to come. And so, as Alice awakens in the familiar surroundings of her own bedroom, the sights and sounds of Wonderland still echoing in her mind, she carries with her the profound truths and the timeless wisdom of her incredible journey. The world around her may seem ordinary and mundane, but Alice knows that the magic of Wonderland is always with her, a constant reminder of the power of curiosity, the beauty of imagination, and the importance of embracing the unexpected. With a contented sigh and a smile on her face, Alice faces the new day with a sense of peace and purpose, ready to share the lessons of her adventures with all those she encounters. The story of her journey through Wonderland, with its whimsical characters and profound insights, becomes a cherished tale, passed down through generations as a reminder of the magic and wonder that lies within us all. And so, as the sun rises over the tranquil landscape of Alice's world, she knows that the spirit of Wonderland will always be with her, a guiding light and a source of inspiration for all the adventures that lie ahead. The end of her journey is merely the beginning of a new chapter, a chance to embrace the beauty and the mystery of life with an open heart and a curious mind. Thank you for allowing Fireside Fables to be a part of your journey tonight. We hope our story has gently guided you to the gates of Dreamland, wrapping you in the comfort of tales told by the fireside's warm glow. For those of you who might still be seeking the embrace of sleep, stay with us a little longer. A calm, meditative piece will follow shortly, designed to ease you into a restful slumber under the watchful care of the night's peaceful embrace. Remember, the path to dreamland is always here, lit by the soft light of our fireside tales. May you find tranquility, peace, and the sweetest of dreams. Until next time, good night, and let the gentle rhythm of the night cradle you to sleep, sweeping over your body. Starting from the top of your head, let this wave of calm flow down to your toes, relaxing each part of your body one by one. Now, bring your attention to your mind. Visualize your thoughts like leaves floating on a gentle stream, drifting further away with each breath. There's nothing for you to do right now, nowhere you need to be, except right here in this moment of peace. As your body sinks deeper into relaxation, imagine a soft, warm light enveloping you. This light brings with it a deep sense of calm, filling every corner of your being. With each breath, this light grows brighter, your body feeling lighter. It's now time to let go completely. Your serene place is here to cradle you into deep sleep. With every breath, feel yourself drifting further into this haven of peace. You are safe, you are loved, and you are embraced by the gentle arms of sleep. As my voice fades away, let the calmness and peace you feel guide you into a deep, restful sleep. Your body knows what it needs, and it's time to surrender to the soothing rhythm of your breath, to the quiet of your mind, and to the warmth of your peaceful place. Release all hold on consciousness and allow yourself to sink into the depths of sleep. Here, in this space, healing and rejuvenation happen effortlessly. Let go and let sleep envelop you in its comforting embrace.